Now I want to quickly go back to verse 1. I want you to notice something else. Notice whose name is mentioned first. Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Yisrael, whom I have chosen. And as it turns out, Jacob is the older brother, and Yahweh named him first. You know, this was written thousands of years before they were born in these last days. I want you to think about that. Okay, let's go back to verse 2 now. This is what Yahweh says. Who formed you and who made you and formed you from the womb. Who will help you. Do not be afraid, Jacob, my servant. Now, why was Jacob encouraged not to be afraid? Do you know? Well, you'd have to know about Jacob. This is because his life was threatened when he went to Israel to do a work there. You know, as you might expect, he used the name Yahweh when he went to do the work initially in Israel. But he was warned that he would be placed in a body bag. Okay? That means they're going to kill him, put him in a body bag, if he taught in the name of Yahweh in Israel. You see? If you read Jeremiah chapter 11 verse 21, you will see that the prophet Jeremiah was also given this very same threat. I want you to notice the last part of Jeremiah chapter 11 verse 21. It says, do not prophesy in the name of Yahweh, or you will die by our hand. My friends, the thugs who issued this threat are the so-called priests or rabbis who remove the name Yahweh from your Bible. They still teach this same blasphemy in Israel, and they threatened the witness Jacob when he went there to live for 7 years. This threat shook him up. It really did. And later we will talk about how the situation led to the separation of the two witnesses, which was all prophesied to occur, my friends. All prophesied to occur. Now let's see if we can finish reading, verse 2 of Isaiah 44. This is what Yahweh says, who made you and formed you from the womb. Who will help you? Do not be afraid, Jacob, my servant. We just saw, why that was said. And Yeshurun, beloved Israel, whom I have appointed. Now, the word Yeshurun mentioned in verse 2, here is not another individual. It's not a third individual. Okay, Yeshurun is simply a word which means beloved Yisrael. The International Standard Bible Encyclopedia, Volume 2, page 1033, tells us that the Septuagint version renders Israel's name in Isaiah 44, verse 2, as beloved Israel. The Septuagint is the first Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible. Verses 3 and 4 of Isaiah 44 talks about the seed and offspring of the witnesses. So, let's jump to verse 5 now. We have a lot of things to cover, and we have to really. So, verse 5. Verse 5 in most Bibles have been mistranslated. So, we're going to read it from the King James Version first so you can see for yourself. Now, please remember that Isaiah 44 is talking about two individuals, okay? Jacob and Israel. But when you read verse 5 in the King James Version, it makes it seem as if it's talking about three people. Notice, in Isaiah 44 verse 5, King James Version, it says, one shall say, I am the Lord's. And another, okay, shall call himself by the name of Jacob. So that's two persons so far, right? And another, a third person, shall subscribe with his hand unto the Lord. Okay? and surname himself by the name of Israel. But as we have seen, and I've just mentioned in Isaiah 44 verse 1, is talking about about the two individuals. So what's the problem with this verse? The problem lies with the word another, mentioned twice in this verse. Okay? The word another was translated from the Hebrew word ze. And is Strong's word 2088. It is a demonstrative pronoun which means this or that, or on this side, or on that side. It's like a toggle. If you're into computers, it's like a toggle switch. You know what I mean? One or the other. In fact, the Lexicon Veteris Testamenti Libros by Kohler and Baumgartner, page 251, shows that when this masculine demonstrative pronoun ze is repeated in a Hebrew sentence, okay, in a sentence, like it was here in Isaiah 44 verse 5, the first word translated ze, the first ze, okay, properly refers to this, the one, and the second ze properly refers to that, the other. So when you follow this rule and apply it to the King James Version, you will get something like this. One shall say, I am Yahweh's, and I substitute out the Lord for Yahweh. And this, the one, or this same one, okay, shall call himself by the name of Jacob. And that, the other, this is the other ze now, shall subscribe with his hand unto Yahweh and surname himself by the name of Israel. So let's read this verse now from the book of Yahweh for the correct translation. This is what the book of Yahweh states now. One will say, I belong to Yahweh, and the same will call himself with the name Jacob. The other will subscribe with his hand and write, I belong to Yahweh, and surname himself with the name Yisrael.